The following video is an analysis relating to the third season of The Dragon Prince. However, this is not intended for kids. This video is for teens and adults, as I will be discussing plot structure, character arcs, and motivations, as well as other numerous narrative techniques. In other words, kids do not tend to watch content based around the craft of writing, thus this is not for children and compliance with COPPA. I, however, will not be cursing or doing any such thing, just to make it clear that this is for a mature audience. And frankly, I am aghast that there is such a need for YouTubers to curse just for their content to be not made for kids. To be clear, my issue is not with the content creators themselves. The fact that it has come to such a level that they feel that they must swear to make their content not made for kids, there's that phrase again, is frankly just completely unfair, and the situation is utterly ridiculous. Anyway, with this unpleasant business out of the way, let us proceed to the video.
I got really bummed out by the finale of The Dragon Prince Season 3. It was as if halfway through the season the writers forgot what show they were making. What do I mean by this? Well, let me start by saying that overall I still love this show, and that while I was let down by the conclusion, The Dragon Prince is still one of my favourite pieces of television that is currently running at the moment. There were still aspects of the finale that were consistent with the rest of the show. However, upon watching the final battle, I just felt empty. What was wrong? The story beats seemed to be there. After some reflection, I realised what was lacking. The final battle disregarded the fundamental ideas that all life is precious, that the ethical values that the entire show had been built around, and it also disregarded the consistent characterization that had made it an intelligent piece of art in the first place. And so, let me explain why the final battle of The Dragon Prince Season 3 is a dissatisfying disappointment. For 2.5 seasons, Wonderstorm has created an intelligent show that isn't afraid to push boundaries of what it means to be a kid show in themes and ideals. Some of these include the exploration and concepts such as the fact that all life is precious, no matter what, and that the concept of a just war is nothing more than a lie. After 3 seasons of build-up, and these questions being asked, the final battle doesn't even address them at all. Instead, it blatantly ignores them. All the characters fight because it's the final battle, and there has to be a big epic fight, right? They seem to forget their reluctance to resort to violence. Look, I'll provide an example. Ezran spends the first few episodes of the 3rd season with the ethical dilemma of sacrificing soldiers for the greater good or winning a just war. It is discussed that the soldiers are all mothers, daughters, fathers and sons, and Ezran comes to the verdict of giving up his power to prevent the war, and then he gets locked up for some reason. I'm still not really sure about that. But the point is that his decision is fundamental to Ezran, and it defines him as a character. It is the pinnacle of his arc. And so what does he do later on in the final battle? He gathers a thunder, that's a group, of dragons, and intends on burning the entire enemy forces alive. It doesn't matter that they turn out to be resistant to fire and that they're corrupted by dark magic. They are still people, many of which are possessed against their will, and therefore innocent. And to make matters worse, Ez didn't know that they were resistant to fire. He just burns them all without a second thought. This is the same guy that gave up the throne to save lives a few days earlier, and is now actively engaging in mass murder. Where's the consistency? Is this the same Ezran? And it's not just Ezran. Many of the other characters seem perfectly content with war, and the very need for war is just accepted by everyone. No one talks. No one even attempts to negotiate and questions the hundreds of lives that are about to be lost. And afterwards, everyone seems so happy. Look, they're smiling. I understand that you would be relieved. However, no one talks about the atrocities that have just been committed, the cost of lives. Callum, Rayla and Ezran took Zim to his mother to prevent war, and in the process started a war instead. Do they forget about that? I suppose Zim's return bridged the gap between humans and elves for the foreseeable future, which would prevent a forthcoming war, but in part they failed because they started one anyway. This is completely forgotten about. Other character-related consequences and consistencies are also skimmed over, in particular with Soren and Claudia. In the aftermath of the main battle, Soren was supposedly driven to stab his own father through the chest in order to save Ezran. It does not matter that this moment was an illusion. Soren didn't know that at the time, and he still went through with it. The poor guy is bound to have some serious PTSD after killing his dad, real or not. We see none of that in the aftermath of the fight. Where are the consequences? He doesn't look damaged at all, he's just happy, he's like, yay, we won! Speaking of, what the hell is wrong with Claudia in this scene? She is evil. I mean, she just sees Soren and brings him to his knees in a mental breakdown. She may truly believe that what her father is doing is right, and she is blinded by trauma. However, I find it difficult to believe that she would hurt Soren in such a way. Not from what we've seen with her so far, anyway. Could Claudia become this twisted over time? Sure, but not in the time we've been given so far. Her turn, much like Daenerys' in Game of Thrones actually, seems rushed. The writers wanted to present a whole puzzle, but they were not given enough pieces to get where they wanted, and the conclusion just feels rushed. This carries through the whole finale and is just the main issue. It feels forced. It feels rushed. It feels as if the writers really wanted a final battle, and so they made it happen. This can't be blamed, it is still a wonderful spectacle. The problem is that the rest of the show doesn't clearly lead up to the battle. The characters don't seem like themselves. They exist in the battle for the battle. That's the issue. The idea that life is sacred, what's right and wrong, and strong consistent characterization is thrown out of the dragon's den in exchange for a cool showdown. And this ultimately is what deeply saddens me. I'm not angry, I'm just disappointed. And that is why the finale for The Dragon Prince Season 3, a show that I have invested quite a bit of time into, ended in a dissatisfying, disappointing way. Thanks for watching. Hopefully Season 4 will be better.